I've gotten 3 calls booked in the last 3 days. I don't know if my marketing's starting to really pay off because I am doing, at like 4 or 5 posts a day on Facebook and Instagram. And then I'm also reaching out to people. So I'm constantly messaging a lot of people. I'm talking like 50 to 100 people a day, as long as Facebook will allow me to do it. So I'm reaching out constantly to people, and it's paying off. Like, I'm getting clients. Also, another thing is I started my business in like July-ish. Started marketing, I guess, my business in July, and I've been, at this for this is the 6th month now, December. So I've been marketing for quite a while, and now tax season is hitting, and I think that people are starting to like, oh, I really need to look at my books. Like we're about at that crunch time right now, so we really need to. Take that in consideration. I think that that's the biggest thing that is in contributing to my calls right now. I haven't booked any calls, or sorry, I've booked calls. I haven't gotten anybody to pay. I've requested a couple invoices, or not invoices, sorry. I've requested a couple bank statements, and so I'm waiting on those to get to me. Once they get to me, then we'll be able to, you know, better understand, you know, where their businesses are at, and then I can send them quotes. So yeah, I think that my biggest issue right now, my marketing, I think is on point. I think my marketing is working. My sales is where I think that I'm lacking right now. And the only way to get better at that, I guess I could buy a course or something or study something. But in my opinion, the best way to get better at that is just to get on the phone. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get on the phone as much as I possibly can and talk to as many people as I possibly can, like, just constantly talking to them, because that's where I'm going to be able to understand my questions better. Obviously, the more that I do books, the better I'm going to understand what questions I need to ask, because right now I'm asking questions, but it's just not it's not I'm still missing questions. Like my last call I was on, like a dude was, seemed like he really wanted to start bookkeeping, and everything went well. He was really short and to the point. Usually people talk about their business for a really long time, and he was just like, yeah, I'm service based, power washing. And I was like, oh, okay, how many banks do you got? So I asked how many banks they got, how many credit cards. He had one bank account, no credit cards, which is really freaking awesome. Like, it's gonna be easy to do that. And then I asked him, if he's been doing QuickBooks, and he has for the whole year. And like, the one thing that I messed up on, I think, is he'd rather send me his bank statements, which is fine. I can figure out a pricing off of the last 3 months of bank statements. But the thing I messed up on, and I think, is that I didn't say anything about a cleanup work, because he said his girlfriend's been doing his books for a while, and I don't know how well that she's been doing them. And the only way I will know is once I take a look at them. And so I told him that my average client pays 300 to 400 $400 a month, and you seem fine with that. And then, I don't know if, like, whenever the cleanup conversation comes, like, like, hey, it's gonna cost this much to do a cleanup. I don't know if that's gonna be a shock to them, because that's what I just don't know. But I'm gonna give them the option, if, as I assume that they're gonna need cleanup. Unless I get on there and she's been doing everything perfectly, that could happen. Then I won't have to worry about that. Or I tell them, like, hey, you can pay me for the whole cleanup, and I go back and I can fix it. Or I can start now, like in January, fresh, but just none of your, I can't promise that any of your 2025 is going to be accurate, because I'm starting in January going forward. But we'll see when that time comes. You'll see if he even sends me his bank statements. I've gotten to this point with a few people where I'm like, yeah, this is what I do. Are you interested? And they're like, yeah. And then I ask like, hey, I just need to see your bank statements. Send them over to me and I'll give you an exact quote. And then I never hear from them again. So it's like, all right, whatever, I guess. But those people, if they don't hit me, I'm they're on my leads list, and I'm just sending out messages to them constantly. I've been doing it every week. I don't know if that's a little aggressive, but they ain't responding to me. So if they ever say no, like I don't need your services, they're off my leads list. I'm done with them. I'm not trying to waste my time on them. I don't know if that's the great way to handle it with sales and marketing and however you're supposed to do it. But that's how I'm gonna handle it. As I don't want to annoy someone that is gonna hate me for messaging them every so often. Whenever they're like, leave me alone. So if they say no, then I'm not gonna bug them no more. But if they don't say anything, I'm gonna keep sending it to it. From what I hear, it hasn't happened to me yet, but what I hear is that someone, if you keep popping up in their lives, they'll get used to you, and they'll get more familiar with you, and eventually they're gonna want to come back. But we'll see. I don't know.